to. Do you still go to the movies as often as you used to, or not so much?
So I will tell you this: when I started dating Steph, that's something that she really likes to do, and I hit an age where, and I also hit a level of technology where it didn't used to be you could have a theater in your house, but with surround sound and a nice enough screen, I can make my own popcorn. I can imagine all the teenagers talking through the movie. I don't have to go there and actually live that.
Is there certain movies though you have to go see in the theater?
I think there's two different things. There's a movie you gotta go see, like if it's an epic film and you want just that big room experience and the booming bass and all that. And then there's also the one where you're there to see it with other fans, because you ever notice this? When you watch a movie, do you get a different vibe off the movie depending on who's in the room if you know they're enjoying it?
Yes and no. I get what you're saying. That positive excitement vibe is fun when you know you're surrounded by fans of that movie genre that you're watching, whatever it is. However, it's also freaking annoying when they're clapping and cheering like they're at a sporting event.
They can't hear you.
Perfect example. When I went and saw Spider-Man No Way Home, and the big reveal comes up that, hey, spoilers, it's been out for a couple years, so get over it. But the big reveal when they have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans in the movie, people are, ah, 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 and it's like, what the F? It's a movie, and they're clapping, and like, what do you, shut up, because now you're missing dialogue, right? Because all these people are cheering and acting stupid, and you're missing like, hey, I'm Spider-Man from another universe. Oh, how'd you get here? I'm gonna tell you. Ah, ah, ah. You can't hear what's happening because these idiots are clapping. It's like, stop! Shut up! I want to hear what happened. Why is he here? I become that old man who's yelling at people. Shut up!
Now, speaking of being an old man, there is one thing that I really do appreciate about going, like, must go to the theater, and that is like when the newest Star Wars came out. Well, I say newest. This was the prequel, The Revenge of the Sith. I was young enough that I didn't mind going into work, sleep hungover the next day. I stayed up for the midnight release. I was at an AMC 24. They had 12 of those theaters showing this movie, and there were people lined up outside to file in. They seated us an hour early. The previews aren't even on. We're in a fully lit theater with the screen off, and there's people in with lightsabers. There's a dude in a full stormtrooper costume that was printed, like made from fiberglass, and like not printed. I don't think we were 3D printing at that point, but like homemade, this really authentic look. They're walking around, they're having lightsaber battles with the ushers. Like, that was a cool pre-show, and it was all just sort of organically put together by people existing. That was cool. I don't think I'd stay up that late anymore. Yeah.
Now I'm like, that's all right. I'll be part of the crowd that sees it on Friday night, whatever. Yeah, I'm with you there too. I used to do that. And I think for the prequels, and most likely for Revenge of the Sith, I did too. I think I did go to the late night viewing, but I was like in my earlier mid 20s at that point. No kids. I wasn't married yet or anything. So it was like, okay, I could do it now. Would I do that stuff now? Hell no. I can't imagine me saying to Sherry, hey honey, can we get up at 11:30 and go down to the theater to watch a Star Wars movie? She would look at me like I'm crazy. She won't even watch Star Wars with me, the original Star Wars with me on Disney Plus. So she sure as hell ain't going to go to the movie theater at 11:45 to catch a midnight showing of the newest Star Wars movie. Forget it.
Nah, man, I'm 40-80. I'm popping my own popcorn and slipping it into my inside pocket. I'm going on Mondays, or I'm going on Sunday because the matinee's cheaper. Yeah. I'm slipping a Wendy's classic double in my side pocket and eating that in the theater.
You know what? That's pretty good. But let me tell you something that me and our buddy Ed did one time. We went and saw The Dark Knight, when it came out in theaters, and we brought in with us Raising Cane's chicken with the sweet tea. How we got to pass everybody, and this is the opening weekend when everybody and their mom's going to be there, right? How did we get Raising Cane's chicken into this theater with sweet teas is beyond me, but we did it.
Kudos.
Listen, I mean,
You can't even get an engagement ring on a cruise
But I
ship.
can get Raising Cane's into a movie theater. You know what? That makes me think. What was I worried about? I can get a diamond onto a cruise ship. If I can get Raising Cane's into a movie theater. Hell, I can get a diamond on a ship. Come on, man. Where's your confidence?
Okay. So what is that the biggest thing? If we had like a contest, like what can you sneak into a movie theater?
I would think it would be hard to get like a pizza, maybe a cheesesteak. I mean, but see, here's the thing. Okay, a cheesesteak, if it's wintertime, you can wear that and maybe put the cheesesteak down your pant leg.
I'm going to veto that right now. Go sleeve down your pant leg.
Well, they'll just look at you like, all right, sir, good for you.
Yes. Wow, he's having a good day.
And it smells like cheese and onions. That's good or bad? I don't know.
That's good.
I feel like I should be disgusted, but at the same time, yummy.
A little aroused.
This is the most confusing boner I've ever had in my life. All right, so let's see. What else would be hard? A full pizza would be tough to sneak in. Man, oh, how about this? Ninja Turtles is being re-released in theaters for its 35th anniversary.
Oh.
How about we try to sneak in a full pizza into the movie theater?
Bro, I got you. Listen, wax paper,
right.
Okay? And you fold, you ever see these reels where they cut one slice so it's like, how does it? They separate one side of the slice and they roll the pizza up, right? Do that on wax paper. None of the cheese touched anything else, and you reassemble the pizza in the dark.
You're like the sharpshooter who's on the roof and now blindfolded. He's putting the gun back together to shoot his target. Except we're doing it with pizza.
Okay, now take quadrant C and unfold it into quadrant A. I didn't study for this. No, he did it wrong.
You ate the pizza backwards. You never eat the pizza backwards. What's wrong with you?
We lost him. He exploded. He reassembled his pizza. It
You
backfired.
can't put the pepperoni on the bottom of the pizza. What are you doing, you?
No, we're doing this. And I know I'm talking about this like I've thought about it before. I really haven't, but I think
as soon as we get done recording this show, we're gonna have a 30-minute off the air conversation, which we probably should record. All right, Operation Pizza Time. Cowabunga!
Pizza time.
Pizza time!
Yeah, I love it. No anchovies, and I mean no anchovies.
If you put any anchovies on this, and you're gonna be in big trouble, pal.
I'm gonna let you know. That'll do. And the clock's ticking, dude.
In fact, I think you asked me this while I was on vacation. You were looking for, I believe, the new Donkey Kong game for your Switch 2, correct?
I was
in Rehoboth, and they got this new, in the outlets there, they've got a new game store where they sell current games and old retro games, like as far back as the Atari 2600 and everything else you could think of. So I walked in there yesterday with Sherry, and I was just like, oh, it was amazing, right? Like it tickled my nostalgia itch. You know, I love these places. I feel like a 12-year-old again, and I love Sherry. She's so cute. She tries so hard to be believable that she's interested in what I'm interested in.
She cares because she cares about you and you care, and that's a great quality.
I just got basically an idea of what I look like when she drags me into a women's clothing store and I'm falling behind her. That's basically the same vibe I got. Like, you know, like she's like, yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, that'd be cool, I guess. Yeah, it's the same thing.
I really like the way that stripes are stripes, honey.
So we're walking around and she's trying hard and she's like, oh, I remember playing Pac-Man on an Atari. And I'm like, yeah. You know what's weird? Pac-Man on the Atari 2600 looked and sound completely different than the arcade version, right? And that did not bother us.
Yeah.
In fact, it tickles your nostalgic funny bone when you hear that. You know, because the Atari version is so different than the arcade version. And again, like I said, that was okay. Now, any other game, you're like, this doesn't look like it does in the arcade, and you kind of at it. But for some reason, Pac-Man just worked. Maybe because we just loved Pac-Man so much, we didn't care what it looked like, what it sounded like.
there was another Atari that came out aside from the 2600. The 2600 is the one that was real famous and in everybody's home. But there was something called the 800, another one called the 400. And they had a slightly higher chipset where they could do better graphics. If I'm not mistaken, there was an arcade-ready, like an arcade-accurate Pac-Man for one of the other Atari systems. Just not the one that everybody had at Christmas in 81, 82. So
now, and I remember Donkey Kong on the Atari 2600 looked like a big mud monster. Like he didn't look like a Donkey Kong at all. It was just like a big brown, weird looking, like I said, a mud monster whose arms just went up and down like this, and the barrels moved. And I kind of remember the sounds of Donkey Kong on the Atari 2600, and they were bad, but they were, again, nowhere as good as the arcade version. And I think it would be years before the home console version of a game matched what you saw at the arcade. And it probably not until maybe the Nintendo and Sega Genesis did you start to see some of the games were starting to look like they did in the arcade. All I remember was that games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, when they came over to the Nintendo, they looked like they did on the arcade. But I remember just being completely heartbroken when Double Dragon came on the Nintendo and it looked nothing like the arcade. I was like, come on, man, this is the game I want to play. And it looked nothing like the arcade version.
I think that's where we differ, is that you grew up with arcade machines. The first time I went to an arcade, I was probably 9 or 10 already. And the idea that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game from NES, looked more like a Sega game in the arcade, and that there even was a different version of it. I had no idea that there was a different version that looked better, where they actually, instead of speech bubbles, you could hear them talk. Like, that was crazy. So I actually had the opposite experience, where it's like, oh, I got to experience the stuff I like, and then I got to see there was even better versions later. Except for Contra, which I'm a huge Contra fan, and it was completely different at home, and it plays completely different, and I'll die on that hill. NES is better.
When games at home started to look like what they did in the arcade, like when you could play Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, those kind of games on your home console, like I believe that's probably when the arcade started to fall off. I think when you go home and play Mortal Kombat and get really good with the fatalities, or you can play NBA Jam and you know what team to use to beat every team on the roster. I think that's when that's when the arcades started to lose a lot of money, and that's a shame because I think arcades were fun.
Yeah, there was it's the same discussion with the movies then, because like you would get to the point in the arcade where there was like Hydro Thunder and stuff like that. There's I think Hydro Thunder had an arcade machine, but there were games like that where it's like, well, do I want to play this on the 64 at my house, or do I want to play it in the arcade? And is it worth going out there to a public place for slightly better graphics and like the experience of being in the arcade and what you refer to as the orchestra of chaos? That sound of all the attracts playing at once. Yeah, I love that.
That is one of my favorite things about the arcade. And when we do DB's Arcade, I always say that's my favorite thing about walking. If I find a retro arcade anywhere now, one of my favorite things to do as soon as I walk in is just kind of close my eyes and listen to the Orchestra of Chaos, which is just 75 different video games with 75 different themes and whatever genres, and just whatever you hear. Laser blasting, you hear characters getting blasted and going and you hear different theme songs playing at the same time, and it should sound crazy in your head, but it doesn't. It just sounds peaceful. It's like the people that love to live in New York City because they love the sound of the city. To me, walking into an arcade and hearing that chaos of all these different games playing has always been pleasurable to me in my ears. I don't know why. Oh, I love old arcades. Oh gosh, I get so excited when I see and no, it's not an arcade if it has those games that give you tickets. That's not an arcade. That's a game room. That's a total. I feel like this is a discussion we can have at a later time. Game room versus arcade. There is a difference. I will fight someone to the death. I have not too many hills I'll die on, but that's a hill I'll die on. There's a difference between an arcade and a game room. Don't you dare try to tell me different. Sorry.
Yeah, complete agree, but we'll have to do that on another show.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up today's show. We appreciate you checking out the show. A couple things real quick, as always, as we wrap it up. Want to remind you, please go check out our website, dbnted.com, where you can find our other shows. You can like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We would greatly appreciate if you just do that real quick. Hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing. It literally takes you 2 seconds to do. Hit that subscribe button. Help us out. That'd be awesome. And if you really want to help us out, buy shirts. We got t-shirts. We've got everything you could think of with the DB and Ted logo on it. If you buy the shirt, it helps support the show, and we greatly appreciate it. If you really want to help us out, become a Patreon for just $10 a month. You get some extra things. You get your name mentioned in the credits of the show. We'll give you a shout out on the show. We might even dedicate a future award ceremony after you, like we did with Toby. We might create a character in your likeness. We'll mention you by name because we want to say thank you. But if you want to be a Patreon supporter of the show, you can do that by going to dbandted.com. So there you go. Ted, final thought.
Go to the theater sometimes. It's good for you. And while you're there, sneak in a pizza.
And don't go in the game room because that's not an arcade. You want to play arcade games, you go to a damn arcade like a real American.
That's right.
Damn you. So angry today. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.